1,046,000, 1,047,000. Hey, how are you doing? I didn't see you there. Let me put my workout on hold. Okay, so this is Norma Joe. Back to maybe possibly finish this Actually, nah, I think it's like between 2 and 3 more episodes. Like this one, then maybe 1 more or maybe 2 more, and then finish this fucking story. And then I can move on to the next one. But you know what? I went in the pile and I peeked, and I think the next one is more emo fucking porn. So I might pull one from the middle of the pile and see what I get. Because there has to be more to life than emo porn. Okay. And thank God, because a second ago, this dude outside was like cutting the grass or something, and it was hella fucking loud. So I'm really happy that that's not happening right now, and hopefully it doesn't happen again while I'm trying to read, because sometimes these people come out and they're working on the lawn or whatever, and they just make so much fucking noise. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love living in a complex, but sometimes it has its downsides. Anyways, so where was I? Oh, and I hope nobody's outside, but they might be. I don't know. We'll see. Where was I? Oh yes, Tanner, the one sane man, because he's not from in this freak farm, as they call it, was talking to some redhead. Where is it? Oh, okay, here we go. He stuck his hand untouched back into his rear pocket. Well, Tanner thought to himself, at least he's acknowledged me. Call me— oh, this is Goldie! What the fuck? Okay. Call me Goldie, the farmhand slurred then. Call me Goldie. I don't know how you slur that. Call me Goldie. Like that. He adjusted his position a little on the tree stump, trying to stay comfortable, and raised something to his mouth, which Tanner didn't even see until then. Still staring, Goldie bit off a piece to chew. My name is Tanner. He paused a moment. What's that you're eating? Goldie was slow to answer, but just eyed him again. Horsehoof. What the fuck? Horsehoof? Tanner didn't want to laugh, but a small bit escaped. Goldie held it out in his hand so he could see the proof. They shaved the hooves down, you know. Can't just let them grow forever, he drawled. I think I remember this from, like, my friend Flicka or something like that. They were talking about, like, throwing the horse hoof shavings to the dog or something, so the dog could, like, eat them. I think that's what this is based on. Or maybe that was Black Beauty. I don't know. One of those fucking horse stories. It's all the same. I don't think you should be eating horse hooves. Yeah, I mean, that's like the epitome of dirty. Tanner answered with a small chuckle. He put out his hand. Let me see it. Goldie just glared in response, protecting his prize against his chest. Why not? He shot back aggressively, then a little slower added. Why? I think this is a miswrite. Why not? Shouldn't I chew it? I think it should just be why shouldn't I chew it? Captain, don't mind. Well, it's not clean. No, it's not. Goldie shrugged. He chewed a little longer, then replied, Shit, a man's mouth is dirtier than a damn horse's foot. I don't think that's true at all. Maybe his mouth is dirtier. Tanner laughed again slightly, half just to play along, half incredulously. I highly doubt that. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, man, Tanner's like the straight man. Well, doubt all you want, Goldie shot back. You the authority on each and every one on the planet? He shook the hoof shaving at him slightly, tightly clasped in his fist. You the authority on me and this one here? Alright. Tanner put up his hand slightly. Settle down. People do this a lot, too. Goldie turned his head away in defiant uninterest, went back to chewing, and shifted his position again on the tree stump. Nice weather, isn't it? Tanner continued. Goldie just shrugged. It won't last. Is that a little symbolicness? Tanner tipped his head questioningly. Won't last. Finally, the farmhand faced him again. You didn't think it's this way all year, did you? Whether it was a smile or smirk that came across his thin mouth then, it was hard to tell. Nah. Then he was looking away again, scanning out over the fields, almost becoming daydreamy. Nah, the fog will come in soon. and the rains. It keeps the grass green. Yeah, I fucking wish it would rain here. Man, this is before the fucking drought started coming, that's for sure. He spat out the globby hoof shaving, ugh, God, then into the long grass, and scratched at the back of his shaggy hair. I prefer the heat, though. I do, too. I'm from San Antonio, you know. I think that's Texas. Oh? Tanner stepped a little closer. And how'd you wind up here? Goldie's head turned quickly. He looked Tanner up and down, at first taken back in all capacity. Then his shoulders dropped, and the sneer in his laugh was unmistakable. Ma'am, don't stand that close to me. That last line is definitely like a metaphor. Oh, wow. I'm surprised. It's actually like slightly sophisticated writing. Alright. Chapter 7. Apologies. God damn it. Oh my god. Flyer again. This might be too fucking much to read. Let me see. God damn it, Flyer, the captain shouted. Sit still. The farmhand cowered from him under his short, curly bowl of brown hair. I think Flyer, out of all of them, has gotten it the worst. He cringed, pressing back in his seated spot on top of the kitchen counter for now. What is he pressing against? Oh, okay, kitchen counter. I thought it was like kitchen table. I'm like, what is his back against? The captain grabbed him by the jaw, and when he did, right away, Flyer shut his eyes tight. With a folded paper towel, he pressed hot water onto the side of his nose. It's just hot water, whatever. Unless he's, like, purposely burning him, you know. God, Flyer gets it so bad. And you know what? Remember that story I was telling you about the militia porno? There was a part in that involved some paper towels that I remember. Anyway. Okay, Flyer's flinching didn't do much to free him. The captain's grip was firm. God, Flyer half whimpered out. I'm not gonna read that next line. It's just a little too much for me. Softly and under his breath, Flyer growled through his teeth. I wouldn't have this cut at all, he thought to himself, if you hadn't hit me. But the most he dared to say was a short, soft, you got my glasses fixed yet? The captain sighed. He tossed the paper towel away and turned Flyer's face first to one side and then the other, inspecting before he let him go. Flyer still was a little tense, and it was a few moments before he blinked and reopened his eyes. Not yet, the older man answered. I'll have them soon, just so much to do. Sure. Flyer shifted, looking down at the counter, again, a bit afraid to speak his mind. I can't see, he mumbled at last, without 'em. I'm blinder than Goldie. Hey, the captain said sharply, I'll have them all right. They don't seem like they need to see. Goldie doesn't wear glasses. They don't seem like they need to see details. Unless Flyer is, like, the special designated, like, one that uses flyers or something. I don't know. Then it was quiet in the kitchen. A few seconds passed. Then, as the captain began to leave, Flyer heard the clicking of dogs' nails on the wood floor. And sure enough, in came Monty, panting. The captain chuckled and patted the retriever on the back as the dog passed by and went up to Flyer. He went up to the farmhand's dangling legs and wasted no time taking one of his sneakers playfully in his mouth, chewing and trying vaguely to tug. Forgetting the nervousness he had had only moments before, Flyer squealed with laughter and kicked his shoe lightly out of the dog's mouth, only to reach down and receive the wet lick kisses on his dusty hands. Funny dog, he said. I'm still wearing that shoe, you can't just have it. Already, as Tanner made another hike around the farm, he was beginning to feel the first evidence of what Goldie had said the day before. The sky was still blue, but a cold wind was picking up, rustling the grass and not allowing the heat to form a blanket as it had been for the past week. Well, apparently, because it was cold the other night or whatever, like, heat seems to just come and go whenever it wants. It's like San Francisco. Tanner walked around comfortably, peeking here and there. The boys were working, and everywhere he went, whether it was am I close? Here, give me 1 second. Okay, I don't think they're right in the back, but I hear the guy cutting the grass, or the leaf blower, whatever it is, I don't know. Oh, he's from the front. Fuck, whatever. I still closed the window. Whatever. Okay, where was I? The boys were working. Wow, they're working. I guess I was wrong when I said there's no actual farm work in this story. There's a little bit. Still, I wish that I had a work schedule like this. Like, yeah, work like 2 hours a week. It's cool, you know. The boys were working, and everywhere he went, whether it was a pair collecting chicken eggs, a group pulling the weeds from rows of vegetables, even the boy cutting the grass along the fence edge, they all paused and stared at him scrutinizingly. Wait a minute, there is something very different with this man. He was not bothered. They had to get used to him, he knew. But still, he couldn't help it. After a short amount of time, it became unsettling. Well, Tanner said to himself, it has only been a day. It's only been a day, not even like a couple days. Why does he want to work on this fucking hellhole? Like, he could have easily probably got a good job anywhere else. But no, he chose to work in this fucking... I mean, he probably doesn't know what he's getting himself into. And the manager gives hardly any direction. Keep them in check is all he says. If you need help, then radio me. Might as well learn their names. I've only met 2 boys, Ashley and Goldie. He was passing by the barn then, when a quick movement caught his eye, and he stopped almost mid-step. That barn needs repainting, he thought to himself. And the movement he saw? Probably nothing. Just a reflection of light off something, most likely. But maybe he'd get lucky. Maybe there'd be something to do. As fast as a flash, he would swear there was something there. You know what? If this guy wants to earn the respect of all the farm hands, all this crazy-ass people, and he wants to get to know them, he should just start doing farm work with them. Like, just walk up to the vegetable guys or whoever, like, whatever he sees. He should, this is what he should do, okay? He should find where the biggest group is, and then just go up to them and be like, what you doing? You need a hand? And start helping them out. And then as you're working, like, make chit-chat and shit like that. That's how you get to know people. Tanner. But, you know, he's supposed to be, like, in a managerial position, but still. If you want to fucking, you know, this is 2013. This is before all of our socialist ideals started to be popularized. So anyways. As fast as a flash, he would swear there was something there. He had seen a body darting around the back of the barn, just for an instant. Tanner turned and quickly headed up towards the barn. Excitement built in his chest. Finally, something real. He hurried towards the barn with long, rapid steps through the short grass, unable to resist a smile. Finally, he was almost about ready to get down on his knees and try pulling weeds with the boys. Oh, so he was... Okay, I take my words back, or whatever. I don't take them back, but I'm just like, wow, I'm impressed that line was there. His employer certainly would not think well of that. Oh, okay, yeah, see, because they have this hierarchy fucking system of, like, power and shit. And it's like, no, you have to fucking stand over them and lord over them, otherwise it's not pornographic enough. There's not this DS relationship and bullshit like that. It's not tantalizing if you're on the same level. But, you know, that's the separation between reality and fantasy. Man. Let the boys do what they're here for, the sturdy old man had said. What good is it to any of us if they're not kept busy? They'll be busy. Well, Tanner, and you know what's funny? The fact that they're not kept busy. They have obviously so much free time, but, you know, details. Well, Tanner had confessed, I was hoping to pull them aside and talk to them, just one-on-one. The older man had laughed. He had turned away, occupied with brushing the horses in their stalls. Talk to them all you want, just don't hold up my farm. Funny, Tanner thought to himself, as that recollection finished in his mind. The boys called him Captain. As a professional, he would have to think about how to interpret that. What's there to interpret, Tanner? It's a system of power. Don't you know about these things? By now, Tanner was at the barn. He cautiously looked left and right, leaning as if trying to see around both front corners. This poor dilapidated barn. He should maybe say something to the captain. Again? I think he'll blow you the fuck off like he has with every other thing you try to say. The old man did ask him to give notice if anything was broken. Including the system? I'll stop. Seemed that he took sole responsibility for that himself. Which is weird. He should have the guys fix it, or the farm hands, you know, fixing shit. If he wants to keep them busy, all this shit doesn't add up. You know why? because it's not supposed to make sense. The only thing he wouldn't trust to the farm hands, but this barn looked out of use, far from the stables and the pens on the other side of the land. It didn't even appear to be used for storage. What a fucking waste. It's just a fuck den, that's what it is. With a grunt and a brief heft of force, Tanner lifted the wooden bar up and pushed the barn door open. It was like mice scurrying when a light was turned on. The sound which Tanner heard as the heavy wooden doors parted reminded him of his childhood, going down to the cellar for Mother's bottle of wine and hearing the rats. If there were multiple bodies, he didn't see them. All he saw, once his dark eyes adjusted to the light, was one otter-bodied man. He's an otter. Standing against the bar's bitten back wall. He had hair as black as tar and 3 funny spots of facial hair. 3 spots of facial hair? What the fuck? One on his chin and one on each edge of his upper lip. Okay, so like a goatee, basically. But I guess with no middle part? I don't fucking know. It sounds like it's just a goatee, like that other guy had. Blah 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 blah. He looked one of those corners, and Tanner could clearly see the fear in his wide, pale eyes. Tanner didn't know from that distance, but the farmhand was probably shaking. Of course. He was pressed up against the back wall like a criminal. Tanner offered a small smile, a run away from the fields. Here we go. He began to approach. Hey, Tanner greeted, like he had with Goldie, like he had with Ashley. Sheena, oh, this is Sheena, okay. Sheena scraped against the back wall, scribbling at the wood, like a crab against concrete. I like that Sheena's an otter. He totally is, too. Desperate to escape, but whether he went left or right, it didn't matter. He couldn't get away. He was bare-chested and heaving. None of these guys ever wear shirts, because they're all a bunch of fuck toys, that's why. And his expression was growing wild. Tanner stopped when he saw him bare his teeth. Don't be afraid, buddy. Oh god, the language in this story. Oh, and like, the part I didn't want to read before, so nobody is curious or whatever, is just like this part where the captain was telling Flyer to breathe, which is just like, once again, I'm sure that was cute at the time, or something, or maybe even like a little scandalous for me or whatever. But nowadays, with the world we live in, and how you hear people telling you to breathe every other fucking second as if it is not a fucking automatic function of the body, which is required for survival, it just pisses me off so fucking much. Don't tell me to breathe. Don't tell anybody to breathe. They are breathing. You know what gets me so fucking mad? When somebody's hyperventilating and they tell them to breathe, fuck that shit. Don't you see them breathing? If anything, they're breathing extra. So shut the fuck up. I know what they mean. They mean breathe slowly and evenly and controllingly of your own breath, but I don't want to fucking hear it. I am so fucking over and pissed with hearing the word breathe. And you know what? Here's another side note. This is probably going to be the last thing I say in this video because it's almost 20 minutes. But I am so pissed and so over the whole breathe bullshit. People telling other people to breathe, especially when they put on that fucking coddling ass tone and shit like that. And in movies and shows and every fucking thing is supposed to be so fucking cute. And it's just not. It pisses me the fuck off. And you know what? I had this story. I haven't written the whole thing. I've written like 2 outlines and I started writing it, so it's still in the works. But basically, it's just a story all about that bullshit. And you know what's funny? You know that movie Don't Breathe about those 3 kids that try to go in the house and rob that blind man, but then he gets them because his ears are better than theirs or whatever the fuck, and he can go in the dark and they can't. It's a play off that, so this story is also called Don't Breathe, but it's like a play off of words, off of the fucking fact that people are always telling everyone to breathe to solve all their fucking problems, and it's just basically about this cult that believes that breathing solves everything and that they don't need food, water, anything, they just breathe, like, you know, I only heard this in Golden Compass, but apparently there's some folklore, some bullshit that chameleons don't need water or food, they just need air, which is obviously total bullshit, but like, that's like the stereotype or something, so they think they're like that, they're like, oh, we just need to breathe, breath is everything, and blah blah blah, and then, basically, to cut to the chase, the infiltrator goes through this whole cult, and blah blah blah, takes the cult leader down, and all this bullshit, and then in the end, after having gone through some interior, like, reflection or whatever, he ends the story by huffing a bag of paint. Because breathing is just breathing. It's not fucking magic, okay? It's just, I'm so sick of hearing it. And it's just like, yes, we all need to breathe to survive. Don't hold your breath until you pass out. But don't act like, oh, you have anxiety? Just breathe. Oh, you're in pain? Just breathe. Every fucking thing is just breathe. And it's just a fucking cop-out that I'm so sick of. I don't want to ever hear that shit ever again in my life. I swear to God. If I ever get in an accident or any fucking thing like that and somebody tells me, breathe, just breathe, I swear to God, I'm gonna reach up and grab that motherfucker's throat and I'm gonna be like, you breathe, asshole. Anyways, that's my rant.